The Bungie Weekly update just released, and boy do we have a lot to talk about. From weapon crafting in the Enclave to nerfs, buffs, and Witch Queen secrets, this is an article packed with information you won't want to miss. So the article first begins by discussing Sony's acquisition of Bungie. We made a video on this previously, so you could check that out if you'd like to learn more there. Essentially, Sony owns Bungie now, but Bungie is still going to be creatively independent, and the same games will be playable on multiple platforms, not just exclusives. Let's now talk about the Enclave and weapon crafting. As you begin to unravel the mystery and battle the Witch Queen's brood in the new expansion, you'll discover the Enclave. This will be your destination for weapon crafting. Crafting a legendary weapon from scratch isn't a simple matter. You'll need to find patterns, basically weapon blueprints, collect materials, and then building that weapon is just the starting point. After crafting that tool of destruction, you'll begin to unlock its full potential through combat. So how can you start crafting? Well, early on in the Witch Queen campaign, you'll be given an introductory quest that runs you through the ins and outs of crafting. In the first and second missions of the Witch Queen free to all players, Guardians will uncover the Deep Sight ability and be introduced to this Enclave. So as seen in the trailer a couple of days ago, this is where you'll begin to shape your first glaive, one of the brand new weapon archetypes being introduced in the Witch Queen, basically a spear that has some cool abilities. When you first arrive here, they basically give you the materials you'll need to craft your first weapon, but also show you a little tutorial on how to find those materials for future weapons. A subset of weapons and archetypes will also be available to craft from the start, but more will be added in the future. In order to shape your future tools of destruction, you'll need to do a little bit of research first. Those blueprints or patterns are your first requirement. Some will be found through quest completions and others earned by completing various gameplay objectives. Once you've earned that desired pattern, it can be crafted at any time with the required materials. After reaching the Enclave and crafting your first glaive, randomly rolled weapons throughout the game have a chance to drop with a new ability called Deep Sight Resonance. This will be used as you begin to target specific traits to craft. As an example, they say this: if you find a Deep Sight Resonance legendary auto rifle with the Rampage perk, you can complete an objective and extract the essence of the perk to then craft a weapon with Rampage or another perk that increases damage. Here is a Guardian holding Deep Sight Resonant weaponry. It's noted by the red weapon borders. Here is a Deep Sight Resonance weapon with no progress. The essence is ready to be attuned through combat. And here is a Deep Sight Resonance weapon with full progress. Essence ready to be extracted. Like current weapons, not every weapon pattern will be compatible with every trait, but you'll have a good list of traits to mix and match through as you customize a given weapon to your desired specifications. Now, it doesn't stop here though. Through the Enclave, you'll also be able to kick things up a notch and enhance your traits to strengthen their flavor. Here's how you level your weapon and enhanced traits. So once a weapon is crafted, Guardians may begin to increase its level by using it in activities and by defeating enemies. This is where the bulk of your crafting playtime will be. Crafting the weapon seems to be easy if you have the materials, you just really gotta level it up. Enhanced stats and traits can be unlocked when reaching higher levels, granting slight bonuses to your weapon's capabilities. The goal for this system is to give players a reason to invest in their weapons, far beyond what masterworking could offer in the past. Each weapon can now act as a long-tail pursuit as you look to make your freshly crafted weapon the best it can be. Now here's a cool feature. At first, it can be intimidating to start making decisions on how you want to build your weapons and where you're going to put all these materials into. You'll have the ability to reshape your crafted weapons in the Enclave if you want to mix things up and craft them a different way. You can switch up that barrel, mags, or traits you choose so you don't feel like you got locked down on one path forever. Another new addition to weapons is Mementos. While the majority of your weapon crafting experience will be dedicated to mixing, matching, and enhancing traits, there's also an opportunity for a bit of customization when it comes to appearances and activity-specific trackers. At launch, one weapon memento will become available for all players to earn through Gambit, unlocking a Gambit-themed appearance and tracker. So all you gotta do is rank up your weapon to max level, head back to the Enclave, and apply your freshly earned memento for some sweet flair. More of these will become available down the line through activities like Trials and Grandmaster Nightfalls, but it seems like we just have Gambit for now. You'll also be able to craft exotic weapons, though a little differently. The upcoming Osteo SMG and 3 class unique exotic glaives will be able to be crafted through the Enclave, once you find their respective patterns of course. While legendary weapons can be crafted from the ground up, exotic crafting is more about fine-tuning something that already really has an identity, so you're not really changing the exotic completely, which makes sense. So you'll have the ability to customize things like barrels or stocks while preserving the exotic's look and feel. Looking for a longer range profile for the weapon or opting to shred through your enemies up close and personal, you'll be able to do just that. Here is a look at the Reckless Endangerment Pursuit Shotgun. In the post, they clarify some changes to pursuit weapons over past seasons and how they've changed with some random rolled versions of them in the game, and then they introduce this new weapon right here. This pursuit weapon is coming in Season 16 and introduces the new Steady Hand perk for a massive handling boost after a kill, plus Snapshot. Something else that is new to the weapon pool is something called Origin Traits. Every weapon that's new or returning in Witch Queen will have an origin trait determined by its source in a 3rd trait column, including all new legendary weapons and all returning Trials, Iron Banner, and Nightfall weapons. Origin traits will only appear on new drops of a weapon, and they won't be retroactively added to old drops. The point of these is to change things up a little bit, making different weapons of the same type feel unique. Bungie's had to deal with this for years, and in Witch Queen they're doing something about it. There are 14 origin traits shipping in total starting in Witch Queen, and here are some examples. In Season 16, Bungie is replacing the old world loot pool with 12 new weapons in the style of the Destiny 2 Year 1 Foundry Weapons sets. So 3 weapons from each. You got Suros, Omelan, Hake, and the Viced Foundries. Each weapon will come with a Foundry origin trait themed around that Foundry's personality. In addition to the Foundry origin trait, each Foundry's weapon perk pools lean into the Foundry's identity. Big damage for Hake, consistency for Suros, ability tie-ins and weird stuff for Omelan, and never stop firing for Viced. Here are the upcoming Vanguard Shotgun, Crucible Hand Cannon, and Gambit Auto Rifles. Let's now get into a preview of the large list of patch notes that we'll see for Witch Queen. First up, kill trackers will be present by default on all weapons starting in Witch Queen. They really don't see a reason to gate these behind masterworking anymore. Weapon mods for legendary weapons are now free and instant to insert following the armor team's footsteps. And there's also some changes in the Crucible for how special ammo works. When you die, you're going to drop 1 special ammo on death, no matter how many you were carrying, and the max special bricks you can pick up is 1 for shotgun, fusion rifle, or sniper, or the equivalent for other weapons. Scavenger mods will add to this as normal, but they'll be evaluating their place in the Crucible in the future. Now let's move on to some of the weapons. Now there is like paragraphs for each different weapon type here, but I'm going to list the bullet points, and you can read the article if you'd like to learn more about them. For fusion rifles, they're increasing damage a bit across the board, increasing high impact fusion rifle damage per bolt from 62 to 64, and increased high impact fusion rifle PvE damage from 15% to 20%. For crowd control when it comes to breach grenade launchers, they're reducing blinding and concussion grenade damage by 25%. For rocket launchers, here are some changes to damage adjustment. They say the rocket launchers have lacked meaningful differences for a while now, and their free tracking precisions are flat out better, so they're pushing them further apart by adjusting damage. For snipers, it seems they're adjusting some of the zoom when it comes to aim assist. And for pulse rifles, they're buffing the damage they do to minor enemies by 10%. Let's now move on to exotic weapon changes. For exotic trace rifles, they're increasing damage versus minor enemies in PvE by 40%. They say most people don't really find these worth bringing into hard PvE content, so let's make a change to that. If you've played Crucible, you've probably seen the Chaperone is a terror in PvP, and you most likely get killed by it all the time. For Chaperone, they reduced the passive range buff from 2 meters to 0.5 meters. Duality is in a similar place to Chaperone, but it's not quite as rangy. They're reducing passive range buff in slug mode, which is when aiming down sights, from 1.25 to 0.5 meters, and the on Black Wings damage buff no longer clears on reload. Teraba is getting a little bit of a buff. The weapon is extremely strong as it is, but demands a little bit of commitment with no weapon switching. So it now reduces perk progress by half instead of clearing it on weapon stow, and increased Ravenous Beast duration increases for damaging a player slightly. For Ruinous Effigy, they're rolling back the nerf to the damage dealt they added a while back in Beyond Light. So increase the damage dealt by guarding with a transmutation sphere by 66%, and those sphere multi-kills will count for orb generation armor mods. Previously, only kills with the beam would trigger this. If you're a fan of Lumina, Lumina is getting a buff, increased range stat from 44 to 59, increased base stability from 46 to 56, and they say sorry to Thorn fans, as Thorn is pretty strong and this buff would turn it into a monster, so it looks like this is just sticking around for Lumina. For Agger's Scepter, it seems they are reworking this weapon a little bit. For the perk, it used to modify super charge rate, now freezes super recharge and deducts super directly, fixing several issues that made the weapon kind of wonky. Your super should now also drain more slowly while empowered. Deadman's Tale, they're reducing the catalyst hipfire rate from 150 RPM to 130. Lorenz is getting increased flinch. And for the Forerunner exotic, they're increasing ammo picked up from a special ammo brick from 2 to 3, and from 4 to 5 with a scavenger mod. For this next section for legendary weapons, I'm going to pause this and you can read it if you'd like. I'm not the best when it comes to stats and things like that, so I don't want to mess something up when I'm trying to explain it. There's also some huge changes to perks which I'm going to play out over the next couple of seconds here. If you're into perks and specific stats and things like that, I definitely recommend you read the article. I just wanted to cover the main things here in this video. And to wrap this up, they talk about the near future. In Season 17, they'll have a whole set of PvP-focused weapon changes, including new ways for players to build for flinch resistance, balance tuning for primary weapons like pulse rifles, lightweights in particular, special weapon tuning, another PvP special ammo economy change if needed, adjusting how zoom outliers affect the performance of a subset of weapons, and also adjusting several much requested exotics along with legendary perks. If you are interested in pre-launching and pre-downloading the Witch Queen expansion, the preload is planned to become available on all platforms at 9 PM Pacific Standard Time on February 21st, so the day before Witch Queen releases. Anyway, Guardians, that's all I got for this video. The Bungie Weekly update is huge, and as mentioned, if you'd like to see something specific, you could just click that link below. If you'd like to see some more Destiny news and information just like this video, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Anyway, I thank you very much for watching. My name's Evade, and I'll catch you Guardians in the next one.